Hello, hello, hello. Patricia here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, but more specifically, sorry, I'm trying to move this video just a little bit, in Alaska. There we go. We're having a gorgeous day today. It was blue skies. Looks like it's kind of gone away now, but nonetheless, it's somewhere around, I think, 55 degrees. I think we're supposed to be up to 69, which is crazy here in the next day or two. Anyway, today, what I'm going to talk about is I've had a couple of requests to do a video on the glass mat. And you may have noticed I have had the glass mat now as my work surface quite a bit the last few videos because I just love it. It really, really is a great surface. It's very smooth. You can measure on it, and don't know if you can even see this, but it goes 13 by 13 and then has a little bit of a work area over here. But that makes it very nice for being able to, oh, this is supposed to be the piece that is 8.5 by 5.5. Is it really that size? And so you can measure it. I won't move my camera and make that move for you, but that is a huge benefit. Now, wait a minute, you say, but Patricia, you've also got these wonderful paper grids that are really good, and they are. I love these, and I know you've seen me use these before, or at least I hope you have. But that's paper, and you keep having to buy it. And with this glass mat, you don't. Now, you could also have a ruler, whether it's the 6-inch metal that I usually use, or even a T ruler, which I have used before, which is nice because it gives you that the straight surface, but also the T to make sure you've got everything square. But this is always on my desk, and so I can always use this. I don't have to go find my different measuring tools. It does measure both imperial over on the right side and the top, and imperial are over on the left and the bottom, and metric, which are on the top and the right hand side. Let me see if I move these just a smidgen. Yeah, you can see right here the the metric, and then the imperial is over here on the left. So those are there. Now, the things that come with the glass mat are this thing, which is really cool. And of course, I do not have any of the little 1-inch. Yes, I do. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I do have one. This one happens to be Bermuda Bay, came in one of the paper pumpkins recently, and it fits perfectly. These little color spots fit perfectly in these. Now, the nice thing about that is if I need to move this, now it's not going to slide on my desktop, but if I need to move it, I can pick it up and it's not going to dump that color spot out of there. I can also use this with, why do I not have a paintbrush right here? I thought I had everything all ready to go. Anyway, if I need to spray in here and do something, painting, then I can do that. This is a great, and this is a color mixer. I can take my paintbrush. Oh, here it is. Well, it's not my Stampin' Up! Paintbrush, but nonetheless, when you want to change the color and you've got a little water like this, I just sprayed some on with the spritzer and I have a little water in there, then I can clean up my paintbrush. So that makes it very nice. Here I can mix colors. Now, I say that with this, but honestly, you don't have to have that. It's nice and I like it, especially if I'm doing watercolor. However, I don't have to have it. I can paint right here. I can take my re-inkers. I can put a little bit of color on my glass mat. I can add a little bit of water to that. I can then mix it so that it's blended well, and then I can paint. Okay, so that's one of the things very, very quick that I love about the glass mat, is that I can use it for watercoloring. Now, I just wiped that off with a white cloth, but there's also this mat that came with the whole thing. I could have wiped it off with that, okay, and then use my towel to dry it off. Whatever works for you. I always get that wet, not always, but often get that towel wet. I've sort of flung water everywhere here. Before I start working. Now, this is the same material that our Simply Shammy is. So, same material, but it's much thinner. Okay, very much, you know, it's like a cloth rather than a sponge. And you treat it the same way. You can keep it in a case like this. Should you decide you want to do that, you could cut it up. I probably will not cut this one up because I can scrunch it and hold it and do whatever I want. Now, I can scrunch these as well. I don't mean for it to sound like I can't. I can. But I cut these up so that I can just have it on the desktop and then, you know, clean a stamp immediately kind of thing. I could clean the glass mat with the purple sponge as well. I like this. It just has a nice soft feel to it. I don't have to have it, but it comes free, so it's very nice. All right. It's also, my glass mat, again, is heat resistant. So if I need to do heat embossing, which is why I have this sitting right here. This is my heat embossing kit, and it doesn't come with your colors, okay, but it does come with your embossing buddy. I had to think what it was called. It does come with the brush, and it does come with the reverse tweezers, which are so nice. But I do keep my embossing colors in here, or at least some of them. I've got tons of them, but I keep those in there. But the glass mat is heat resistant, so I can heat my embossing powders right directly on this. And I know that I've heard people say they can't use their heat gun on their counter because they're afraid it will melt. It probably wouldn't, but you know it's not going to melt your glass mat. And so that's one of the really cool advantages of it. All right, another thing I'm going to show you is some of the embossing pastes that we have. You can take those with a putty knife and pull some out, put it on your glass mat. I like to keep that in there. It just keeps it from drying out. At least I hope it does, right? It does, because this one, I don't even know how old this is. I've had it for a long time. But put your embossing paste on there. Take your, this is Night of, let's use something a little lighter. Tahitian Tide. Do we have Tahitian Tide anymore? It doesn't matter. I'm going to put it on there. Okay, give it a little bit of color. Now, I'm going to mix that. And if it's not dark enough, then I will add some more. But I think that looks beautiful. Okay. And I'm just using a card here, card front that I don't really have any use for. I'm just playing with it. I'm going to take a mask. And I am going to Now, I'm not really doing this for a card. I'm just putting color down, okay, to show you how to use the glass mat. All right. So I'm filling in a lot of those spaces. And I'm bringing it off of my glass mat, and by the time I'm done with this, I'm probably not even going to have any to clean up off my glass mat, but I'll still be able to clean up maybe a little bit of that residue. There we go. And the full reveal, because you got to have the reveal, you know. There we go. And if we keep that nice and smooth, then it keeps our embossing paste from being too thick. Pull that off. Now, how gorgeous is that? And once it dries, it will, you can touch it, you can do stuff with it, whatever you want to. Again, I'm just doing this as an example. And now I need to clean all of this. I'm going to, before this dries, I'm just going to put this in a bowl of water. And I try to keep a bowl of water close by. And then I am going to use my little towel and wipe it up. Again, I want to kind of do that before it dries. I don't want to give myself trouble. I don't know that it would cause trouble, but it could. Okay. And clean it off, and I'm ready to go. Watercoloring. If I'm doing watercoloring, I can easily, oh, I want to clean my mask as well, so put that in the water. There we go. If I want to do watercoloring on my mat, again, I can watercolor with this. I can with the re-inkers. I can watercolor with my pads. I can take that pad, put some color on there, and now I can paint. So I've got this here. I'm going to add some water to that. I did a very light color and very little of it, but I can now watercolor, okay, and continue to pick up that color. I know I don't have a Stampin' Up brush right here. They work very nicely, but there we go. So I can watercolor on it and use it for watercoloring. Another thing I can do, lots of techniques. Somewhere here, have you ever done this one? Where you take just a very, very cheap shaving cream. I'm trying to put it over here on the side. So actually this one I should put in the middle. So I'm going to pick that up. Hello. Put it here in the middle. And spray some more out. Because you got to play in the stuff, right? All right, so put that aside. We're going to put some color in there. This time we will use, what do we have here? Boho Blue. And we'll, actually what I need to do before I do that is spread this out a little bit. Okay, so about the size of a card front. So I'm going to spread it out. I don't have to be precise, just sort of about. Bring all of that in here. Okay, and then I'm going to, where's my color? Actually, what I think I'll do is put a few colors in here. Who knows what we'll use, but we will put something on here. So there's our boho blue. Let's go with real red. And I am not making sure these are good colors with each other. I think blue and red will be fine together, but just sort of putting some color down, because all this is an example of how to do this. And, you know, I can do more on the technique. Right now, all we're doing is showing how to use your glass mat. And then move all that color around. Let's do some more. And even if we've just got blue and red, we know that those are going to work well with each other. I should use a watercolor paper. I could use, so I'm just pulling out a piece of watercolor paper here. I could use the regular card, and let's go ahead and do that just so that you can see it. And I'm going to place it on there. This is the bottom side, of course, and that shimmer paste is all dry now. I'm going to pick it up, and it looks pretty horrible now, right? So then I'm going to scrape it off. I can use it again. Oops. Scrape all that shaving cream off. And there's my background. How cool is that? Now, like I said, I could also use the watercolor paper. And let's cut that in half. Hold on one sec. Or close enough to half. Oh, I got a little bit on here, but it's okay. This is one of those times when it's okay. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to pick up some of that color from that shaving cream. Again, I'm just going to scrape it off. I'll scrape that into my little bowl. Scrape it onto my desktop or my glass mat. And let that dry. Now, you can, as I did here, use watercolor paper or the cardstock, whichever floats your boater. But as you do this, you will never, ever, ever get the same look. They will all be different, every single one of them. And now I would probably keep playing with this and scraping it around there and all of that, but we're just going to get rid of it and then we'll wipe it down. Just because this is simply an example of how to use this mat. So let me get most of the shaving cream off and then I'll just wipe it down. Put everything back in my water. And take it off of there. I've got a brand new wipe rag, so I'm trying to get it dirty enough and colored enough that it doesn't look brand new anymore. Do you hate to use a brand new one? But if you've got a yucky, dirty one, then you don't mind it quite so much. I know that sounds so silly, but nonetheless, that's the way I am. All right, let me see if I've gotten most everything. Oh, one of the things I love about the glass mat is it sort of defines my space. Have you ever been working, and I've got shaving cream on my hands. Have you ever been using a space to craft and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and pretty soon you have no space left? Well, with the glass mat, especially if you have it raised up. Now, I have it raised up a little bit, partly because it's got to go on the stand here that is holding my camera. So I used, let me move it, I'll show you my secret, the little corner pieces that are there, or that came with it, because you don't really need them. You just can use them, and I did because it happens to be the same width as this stand holding my camera. And so I used it to, and it's still nice and sturdy. It's very, very sturdy, but it defines my space. And when I put things down, I put them outside of that space, and it keeps things from creeping in on me. Okay, so we've used it for the shaving cream technique, watercolor, what did we do on that first one? I don't remember what we did on that one. But watercolor, the shimmer paste, embossing paste. But one of the things I love about this is it does, now I could do all of this on paper, okay? But I keep having to either buy more paper, grid paper, or I use scrap paper, which is fine if I'm somewhere where I have a continuous supply of scrap paper, but like when I'm at school. But I'm not always in those places. And so there are times when, to me, it is better, it's well worth it to have the glass mat because I don't have to replace all of the scrap paper that I may not have all of the time. Now, some of that embossing paste did get on the glass mat, but I was able to wipe it up very easily. I used my thumb just a little bit and scraped it up, and it came right off. So, those are a few of the reasons that I love the glass mat. It makes a nice surface. It's light. It's not white, though, so that I can see my white paper on there if I'm folding a card or whatever. It defines my space. I can scrap without paper. So what I mean by that is if I am going to stamp let me just pull in a piece of paper here. And if I am going to use a stamp, and of course all of these stamps are out because I'm using them. But if I don't have the backing on this one even. Let me grab a block. If I am stamping and I want this to go outside of the paper or the card, it doesn't matter if it gets on there and just wipe it up. And you may even see me do that at times. So you don't, whoa, I didn't put this exactly firm. There we go. So anyway, lots of uses for this, and one of the main is that it's a smooth surface and it prevents me from having to always buy a new paper or to find scrap paper. And it's not that I don't have some, but I don't have an unending supply, and I have run out of paper. Anyway, I hope that helps you. Right now, this is June 6th. The glass mat is available to demonstrators or to those who sign up to be a demonstrator. And starting in July, I believe it's July 3rd, the glass mat will be available to everyone. All right. If you have enjoyed this, if you have learned something new, I hope you will give it a thumbs up. If you would subscribe, if you have not already done that, if you would hit the bell over beside that subscribe button so that you get notifications when I post new videos, that would just be amazing and I would love it. And or comment down below if this helped you. And let me know if you think you might, at some point, like to have the glass mat. I love it. I personally am very glad that I got it, and I use it all the time. It is amazing. So, having said all of that, I hope you will, as I said, subscribe and do all those good things. Have a good one, and even share the video. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.